think about the problem that we're going to discuss in a given class. In this case, I want my students to think about plans and predictions. How do we compare and contrast these two different types of ways of thinking about the future? So one thing that I can ask my students is, it's a way of approaching this problem, is to ask them to make a prediction and to ask them or have them write it or type it somewhere. So this is an idea. We're not going to do it right now, but try to think of a prediction. I'm going to ask somebody. Teacher Raymond, I think you're there, right, teacher?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, could you please give an example of a prediction just to make this feel a little bit more realistic?
It'll be sunny on Sunday.
Great. It'll be sunny on Sunday. Great. So that's something that we can do with our students, to ask them to think of predictions. What they say amounts to what experience they already have with this particular topic, but it's a way of approaching firsthand this problem. Next activity we can do with our students is to ask them to think of a plan that they have for the weekend. And so once again, we can ask them to write or type one or two things that they plan to do either next Saturday or Sunday. So teacher Mary Kristen, could you please give us an example of something that you plan to do over the following weekend?
Yes, sure. On Sunday, I'll see my grandkids. Great,
great. That's great. You are going to see your grandkids.
Yes.
Yes, great. So try to imagine that this is as I mentioned on the website. This is what some people call either a warm-up or detonating questions or schematic activation. That there are different frameworks that propose different ways of conceptualizing or thinking about the way we want to introduce a given topic to our students. That's basically the spirit, that we want to introduce the problem, which is plans versus predictions, which are two conceptual categories that we already discussed in our past seminar. And then we present a couple of examples. You can see that I already have here a couple of GIFs. For those who don't know what a GIF is, I assume everybody does know what a GIF is, but just in case, a GIF is an image that shows motion, that is dynamic, that is animated, such as the ones that we're looking at right now. So we have an example here of a prediction where Homer Simpson predicts that the world will end next week. And then we have Al Pacino, I think it's Al Pacino, I'm not sure, who says that he's going to make an offer that somebody can't refuse. That's an example of a plan. And this is just a way of presenting for the very first time an example of a prediction and an example of a plan. And then we want to give some hints, some clues as to the nature of what predictions and plans are all about, how they differ one from the other. So I'm giving here a small, very brief definition of what a prediction is. And I will state that it is similar to a hypothesis and that the plan is similar to an intention. And then we want to present our students with a first task, which is to decide whether this is a prediction or plan. This is something that we already presented in the seminar about 2 months ago. But today we will discuss how you can design something similar to this. So I'm just reviewing something that we had, those of you who had already been in the seminar had already seen. So this is just a sort of reminder and or a presentation for those who didn't happen to be there. So let me choose somebody from the participants of today. Let me ask teacher Ana Luz. Do you think you could help us with this one?
Yes, it's a prediction.
It's a prediction. So you can see that that design shows a GIF, a sentence, and a decision to make. And then on the next slide, I will present the answer, which is yes, it's a prediction. Temperatures will be hotter in the future. Teacher Annaluz, once again, please. Next question. I'm going to read a book. Is that a prediction or a plan?
A plan, exactly. That's my plan for the weekend.
Great. Yeah, that's nice to hear. And yeah, that's another example in which you can see that this is very dynamic. Our students, I have already used this with about 10 or 12 different groups. Even though there are a couple of things that I still need to improve on the whole, it's been quite successful. If you take the chance to apply these with some of your students, the first thing you will notice is that they do engage and that they do understand what it is all about, what you're trying to teach them. Next example, I'm going to travel to another country. Prediction or plan, teacher Annaluz, please.
It's a plan.
A plan. Yes, that's a plan. I'm going to travel to another country. Another example, a big earthquake will hit California next year. Prediction or plan, teacher?
Prediction.
Prediction, a big earthquake will hit California next year. I'm going to learn to dance. Prediction or plan, teacher?
Plan.
Plan, I'm going to learn to dance. Next example, robots will clean our houses in the future. Prediction or plan?
Prediction.
Prediction, robots will clean our houses in the future. One day, doctors will find a cure for cancer. Prediction or plan, teacher?
Prediction.
Prediction, one day, doctors will find a cure for cancer. I'm going to start a diet. Prediction or plan, teacher?
Plan.
Plan, I'm going to start a diet. I'm going to exercise more to lose weight. Prediction or plan, teacher?
Plan.
Plan, I'm going to exercise more to lose weight. Humans will colonize Mars 100 years from now. Prediction or plan, teacher?
Prediction.
Prediction, how humans will colonize
Sergio,
Mars.
I'm sorry. I
Yes.
can't see. There's a square over there, a gray square, and I don't know if it's my screen or is.
No, I think it's everybody's because I also
I can
that
see.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me one more time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just give me a second so that I can wait for this to respond. This is a very heavy in the sense that it's about 300 megabytes file. So that's why sometimes it takes a little bit of time to load. So right now it's a little bit frozen. So just give me 1 or 2 minutes for this to respond. Let me open the file again. I'm sorry. Is that better? Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes. All right. I'll run through the slides that were not visible again a little bit quickly, so that you can see what you were supposed to look at. So that's, I'm going to read a book. I'm going to travel to another country. A big earthquake will hit California next year. I'm going to learn to dance is a plan. Robots will clean our houses in the future is a prediction. One day doctors will find a cure for cancer. It's a prediction. I'm going to start a diet is a plan. I'm going to exercise more to lose weight is a plan. Humans will colonize Mars 100 years from now is a prediction. And I think this is where we left, right? So I'm sorry for the trouble with slides. I'm going to save some money. Prediction or plan, teacher?
Plan.
Plan. Yes, I'm going to save some money is a plan. We will use telepathy to communicate in the future. Prediction or plan, teacher? What do you think?
Prediction.
Prediction. We will use telepathy to communicate in the future. And then one way that I figured out that I could induce, you know, that we love working with induction and deduction. And one way to induce a sort of rule. Of course, we could delay the moment at which we ask our students to induce any rules, but just to simplify things right now, I will propose that at some point you could do what I'm doing right now, which is to present all of the different sentences together with different GIFs in a way that our students can have a global outlook, a global view of all the different sentences that have been run through in all over the past slides. So I could ask them to please tell me which of these columns refers to a prediction and which one refers to plans. So I could ask, let me see, who can I ask today? Teacher Blanca, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, just let me make sure that I don't make the same mistake again. So is that visible?
Yep,
Yes.
it is.
Yes, great.
Yes.
So let's just pretend that you are a student and I ask you, so which examples refer to a prediction? The ones with will or the ones with going to?
Doctors, okay. It's because I think they're like mixed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mixed up. Okay, temperatures will be hotter in the future. It's not something real. It's a prediction.
Yes.
One day doctors will find it's a prediction. Big earthquake will hit California. Okay, it's a prediction.
Yep.
Will colonize. Okay. Robots will clean out. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And yeah, that's right. Okay. The ones with wheel are predictions, and the ones with going to, they're more real.
Yeah. The ones.
So they're plans.
Yeah.
Going to plans, and will is predictions.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, that's exactly the process that we want our students to go through, right? We want them to discover what's common to all the examples in which we are using will, and what is common to all the examples in which we are using going to. And then we can, of course, present that information in a more explicit way. And then we can let them know at some point. That's up to each and every one of us to decide when the best and most appropriate moment to do so is. But at some point, we gotta let them know that some of these are for predictions and some of these are for plans. Once we have carried through, I think somebody wants to say something. No. If you need to say something, please turn on your microphones. That's what we're here for. So, okay, going through is for plans, but what are plans? We would like to have a further and deeper discussion of the nature of plans. How are they different from predictions? So one thing that we can tell or say about plans is that usually, typically, prototypically, when we talk about plans, we think of plans as something that we have control over. Typically, there could be exceptions, but typically we have control over our plans. While predictions, prototypically, are not ideas or actions over which we have any control. Plans are usually imminent, that is to say that they are in the short term, while predictions are usually, typically not in the short term. So let's test our model. We can do this once again with our students. So question, can we control the world's temperature, and does climate change happen from one day to another? Let me ask for help from somebody else in this group. Teacher Lucero, can you hear me there?
Sure, I'm here.
Yes, great. Could you please help me with this, teacher?
Sure.
Yep, thank you. Is it visible once again for everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry to ask, but
Yes, it is. It's okay.
I feel kind of insecure after what happened 15 minutes ago or so. So, Teacher Lucero, can we control the world's temperature?
No, we can't.
No, we can't. Does climate change happen from one day to another?
No.
No. And because we cannot control global temperatures and climate change takes time. It doesn't happen from just one day to another. We just will. We can already start working out the deductive part of our didactic sequence. Next, teacher Lucero, please, if you could help me. Temperatures will be hotter in the future. Sorry, this is the next one. Can we control earthquakes? Do we know when they will occur?
No, no, we can't.
No, we cannot. So we cannot control earthquakes, and we don't know when exactly they will happen. So typically we use will. Another big earthquake will hit Mexico in the next 30 years, according to geologists. This is just another example of how we use will in order to talk about predictions. But those examples that I just gave are predictions. Now we want to talk about plans. What is so special about plans using going to? Let's see. Example, can I control when I'm going to read a book, teacher Lucero?
Yes, of course, I can control that.
Yeah, we can control that. That's under my control, your control, our control. We decide when exactly we want to do this. So, for example, I'm going to read a book this evening, today, maybe after this workshop. But now let me give you an example that is rather weird, not typical. Like, who would ever say something like this? It doesn't sound right. It sounds out of place. I'm going to read a book in year 2032. Do you think that sounds
Logical.
good? It's
No.
kind of weird, right? It doesn't sound very well. There's something wrong here. And precisely what is wrong here is that that usually, typically, when we want to talk about plans using going to, we couldn't talk about something that is in the long, that we foresee to happen in the long term. We usually think about plans as something that is rather in either the short or mid term, but not really in the long term. We could find exceptions, but typically going to for plans refers to short or mid-term plans. Can I control when I'm going to travel, teacher Lucero?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I can control that.
Yeah, that's something we can have control over. So that's usually under my control. For example, I'm going to travel to Cuba next week. But what about this? I'm going to travel to Cuba on April 2029. Does that sound natural at all?
No.
No, it sounds
No.
weird. Like, what are you talking about? That doesn't. Did you go berserk or something? I mean, I'm asking myself. Next, can I control when I'm going to learn to dance, teacher?
That one is a little bit tricky. I suppose I can control that.
Yeah, you can at least control whether you want to try or not, whether you want to give it a chance or give it a shot or not. Whether we will learn to do it or not, well, that depends on other factors, but whether we decide to attempt or try to learn how to do it, that's the thing. That's what it's under our control. So that's usually under my control. For example, I'm going to learn to dance next month. I'm just trying to show an example in which we do not necessarily plan to do something either today or next weekend, but it's not in the long term. What about I'm going to learn to dance 10 years from now? What do you think about this one, teacher?
It also sounds weird because it is in the long term.
Yes.
So as you mentioned before, we usually make plans in a short term.
Yes, that's the trouble, right? That's the problem that prototypically, if we want to choose good examples of going to for plans, they have to be either in the short or mid term. Next, can I control when I'm going to start a diet, teacher?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Whether I am able to adhere to my plan, well, that's another story, right? Whether I have the discipline to keep up with my diet, that's another thing. But when I plan to do it, that's something that is under my control. Example, I'm going to start a diet from tomorrow morning. But what about this one? I'm going to start a diet in 10 years from now. What do you think about that one, teacher?
No.
No, it is impossible.
Yeah, that sounds like sarcastic, right? That sounds like sarcasm.
Yes.
It sounds like, nah, I'm never gonna start a diet. Yeah, 10 years from now, yeah, sure. That's it doesn't feel right. Next, can I control when I'm going to start exercising, teacher?
Yes.
Yes, that's something
Yes.
that I can control. So for example, I'm going to start exercising tomorrow. Maybe I haven't exercised in half a year or so. What about this one? I'm going to start exercising in year 2030.
It is the same, just very sarcastic.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds
It is impossible also.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound right. There's something wrong with this sentence. So I hope that you can notice by now why it is so important to choose our examples in a way that they adjust to the prototype. At some other point, we could work out the exceptions, but we should start with prototypical examples. Can I control when I'm going to save some money, teacher?
Yes, of course, I can.
Yeah, on the whole, there might be some factors that impede this from happening, but on the whole, broadly speaking, we should be able to decide this. So yes, I can. I'm going to save some money this month. But what about I'm going to save some money in 3 years from now, in year 2024?
No.
Yeah, that sounds once again quite weird. So to summarize, we use going to for plans, meaning that what we mean by plans is that we have some control, and they're usually there might be exceptions, but they're usually imminent, and we use will for predictions, which are over which we typically don't have much control, and they're usually not imminent. So that's the general basic approach to how I think we can. Of course, this is not the only way to do it, but this is one way we can approach this particular issue of will for predictions and going to for plans. Of course, creativity plays a major role in how we adapt these ideas ever further in a better way. So I'm going to show you very quickly some of other ideas that I have been developing as to how we could further continue to develop this methodology. So, okay, plans, planning for the future. And so I have presented my students with this issue. So I asked them what country is this. To be honest, 99% of my students don't know what country is this. I myself didn't know how to recognize this on a map, this country, before I started designing this.
Sergio, sorry. Your Zoom bar, I don't know how to say that. A bar is in the middle of of the screen, and perhaps we cannot appreciate.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's just that somebody was asking for to join the meeting, and I think that's the reason. Yeah, I'm going to. Is it better there? Is it?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, teacher. Thank you for letting me know, because there's a few things that I sometimes don't notice, like this one. So what country is this? As I was telling you, I don't know. I need to reconsider whether this is a good way of introducing the problem, but well, either way, I end up telling my students that, yeah, that's China, and there was a problem here. Of course, when I started designing these materials one year ago, all of this problem was only starting, and I thought it would be a good way to catch our students' attention. So, well, I present the problem. There about the new coronavirus, the fact that it has been spreading all over the world. And now I'm going to show a video that I have shown my students. Once I finish showing you this presentation, I will show you how to do everything that I've been showing you. So Right now, I'm just going to show you the video of what we mean when we talk about exponential growth.
Country. January 31st, Italy had 2 people known to be infected. Within a week, February 6th, that had risen to 3 people. 2 weeks after that, they were up to 17 people. 3 days later, by February 24th, 219 people. 4 days later, February 28th, 821 cases. Just over a week later, March 6th, 3,916 cases. 4 days later, as of yesterday, it's 10,149 cases. That's yesterday. Today, it's up 12,462.
You can listen to the presenter, right?
Yes.
Yes, great. So let me finish the video.
2 cases.
In the US, 4 weeks ago, we had 15 cases. Just over a week ago, we had 100 cases. Today, we have over 1,200 cases. The US is right now following almost the exact same trajectory, just a week behind.
So the purpose of this particular video is to introduce our students to the problem of exponential growth. And it is one more way to involve them into the issue that I want them to problematize and think about and feel concerned about. And after this video, well, this is a material that I designed 1 year ago. I need to reconsider bringing up other topics other than COVID-19. But here, let's see this example. So I told my students that COVID-19 is already here in Mexico. And then I want them to get a better idea. I wanted them to get a better idea 1 year ago when there wasn't much information yet. So I showed them this I have included this animation that shows what the coronavirus looks like at the microscopic level. As an animation, of course, this is not the real thing, but I think it catches our students' attention. I think it's a way to keep them interested in what we're trying to teach them. And then this is another GIF. Once I finish this presentation, I will show you how to create a PowerPoint that includes something like what you're looking at right now. And so this is a GIF in which I am showing my students how infections can easily happen if no proper measures are taken, and how one single person, in this case at a cinema, can spread the virus. This is just another animation. I'm just trying to find ways of making my students feel like this is something interesting and that they do want to get involved into the discussion. And then I present my students with some infographics about the problem. This is once again a way of problematizing the topic of COVID-19. Eventually, we will come back to the problem of going to for plans, but right now I want my students to get involved into a specific problem. So I show them these infographics from Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Thailand, Canada, Singapore, France. And then I ask my students, so what is our own plan to respond to this global pandemic? What can we do in case of an outbreak? And so you should notice now why I was showing everything that I was showing. I want to present a problem, and I want my students to feel some interest for that problem. And I now want them to talk about it, of course, using going to. So part of the methodology that I am proposing is to create as much meaning as possible that is closely associated with the grammatical construction at hand, in this case, going to. So I have developed a whole problem over which we want to talk in terms of plans. What are we going to do in the face of this problem? So yeah, somebody wants to say something? No. So how are we going to adapt to this new reality? And so I present my students.
Yes, teacher, sorry.
Yeah.
The control bar is again there.
Oh, somebody is most, yeah, I guess somebody wants to join the the meeting. Okay, let me one more time. There is that better? Or is it still
No,
there?
it's still there.
Still
No,
there.
it's still there.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Let me hide it.
See it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, and you know what? You know something that
mm,
is affecting my. It's just that I changed
Okay.
my monitor 3
there
days
it is.
ago, and yeah, I'm still adapting to my new monitor. I'm sorry.
Okay. There it is. Okay.
There it is, right?
Thank
So,
you.
so I asked my students to take notes of the following information, and then I show them all of these different. As I was saying, this is something that I designed about 1 year ago, and so I wanted my students to have good information about what was important to consider in case of an outbreak or in case COVID-19 became a major problem, as it did in our country. So I showed them the symptoms: high fever, blah, 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 contagion, prevention. I'm not going to read everything because we have so little time. And then I showed them another one. And then I try to reinforce as much as I think it's reasonable to do so. All these ideas of what we should do: washing our hands, staying home, avoiding close contact, cleaning and disinfecting, and all of those recommendations that we all know very well by now. And then at some point, I asked them to repeat some of these sentences, such as, and once I get here, I ask my students to say, I am going to avoid close contact. I am going to cover my cough or sneeze. I am going to avoid touching my eyes, nose. I am going to. At this point, I want them to begin to produce some sentences in a way that they are not feeling under much pressure. And then I come back to the issue of creating meaning that is associated to our construction, which is going to. So I tell them that soap is very important. I'm going to show a video explaining the importance of soap. So let's watch it. The video is going to explain that the coronavirus has a lipid fat outer membrane. If the membrane is broken with soap, the virus is inactivated. So, oh, sorry, this is.
Teacher,
yeah.
sorry, but the thing is that your bar, okay, can still see it. I don't know what's, what's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so grateful that you are letting me know about this issue. Every time that somebody joins the meeting, that's happens. Yeah, and it's also partly because I recently changed my monitor. But yeah, thanks so much for letting me know.
It might be, sorry, it might be a good idea to put it on top of your screen.
Yeah, on top of my screen.
Yes, move it.
Oh yeah, let me try that. So I'm going to put it, I think I can move it right here, maybe below. Yeah, there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, is that better?
Yes.
Much better.
Yes, that's better.
Indeed.
Yeah. So let's see. So yeah, this is an animation that shows that the coronavirus has an outer membrane that is made of fat, and when we use soap, we can destroy that outer membrane, and that's why it is so important to wash your hands with soap and water. So let's watch a video that shows a teacher teaching her little students how pepper in oil reacts like viruses in the presence of soap. Let's see.
Hey, Isa, dip your finger inside the virus water. Okay. Did the virus move at all? Did any of the pepper flakes move? No. No, right? Okay. Now, Isa, take out your finger. Do you see any virus on your finger? Any pepper on your finger? Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, we don't want the virus on our finger, right, you guys? So, Isa, can I ask you to dip your finger in soap, clean your finger? Okay. This is the importance of how we wash our hands. Now, Isa, does your finger have soap in it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you dip your finger back in the virus?
How did it move?
Do you see that?
Yeah. It moved.
You guys saw that?
Yeah.
You see how important it is to wash our hands?
So I think that's another way of keeping our students' attention on the class, on the problem at hand. I am about 5 or 10 minutes away from finishing this presentation so that I can show you how you can design your own materials, such as the one that you're looking at, that you've been looking at up until now. And then I give them another reinforcement of the whole issue, how to wash your hands properly. And then I give them a task to follow. And here there are many things that we can do at this point, but one that I would like to mention, it's not the only one. There are so many other ways of working, either online or in a face-to-face setting, is to, let me close this, is to manage a Facebook group. So this is just an idea. I'm not saying that everybody should immediately or at some point create a group. Some of you will probably love it. Some of you will probably loathe it. It's hard to tell, but it's just an idea. So in this idea, you can create a Facebook group. We can talk about how to do that at some other point, but let's assume that you have already created a group in case you are interested in working this way, and then you pose the question to your students. This particular task that I'm showing you right now doesn't have to do with COVID-19 anymore. I will come back to that issue later on. The reason I have skipped the activities related to COVID-19 is that I want to hurry up so that I can first give you a sense of how we can create different materials for our classes. And then once I finish giving you a sense of how to do that, I can teach you how to do it yourselves. So let's assume that we already finished discussing COVID-19, and we are now looking for further ways of discussing how to use going to, how do we facilitate situations in which our students are able to practice. So, well, this particular example is not about COVID-19. I could have asked my students to give examples about what to do in case of a COVID-19 outbreak, but in this case, it's just a general question of what are your plans for tomorrow, the weekend, next week, next month, or December. The reason I want to show you this is because this is something that I did just yesterday with my students. And here are some of the answers. The first thing that you're going to notice is that some of the answers have either grammatical or lexical problems of all sorts. But right now, I'm not so concerned about whether these are perfect examples or not. I'm concerned with how can we facilitate situations or contexts in which our students can practice. So here are some examples of my students. I'm going to do some chores. Of course, there was a little problem here. Play video games, do yoga, etc. Paulina Villanueva, I'm going to do a pijamada. Melody, tomorrow I'm going to the grocery store to buy food. Pearl, I'm going to practice yoga tomorrow. Yaret, I'm going to play with my favorite, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, cappuccino, we'll later find out. Monkey all day. So this is the first step. This is one idea of how we can invite our students to further practice with going to. And once they have already written down their sentences, if you have a Zoom meeting with your students, like the one we're having right now, which is what I did today in the morning. In the morning, I asked, for instance, Paulina, hey, Paulina, could you please tell me what plans Fernanda has for the weekend? And then Paulina started reading and, of course, working out the transformations. She's going to do some chores. She's going to do the same. She's going to read 3 books, etc. And I also deployed some breakout rooms in which they could practice with their partners and they get to know each other's furthermore. And something that is right now in progress is that I have designed or launched a Facebook Messenger chat group in which my students are going to send audio files. They're going to record their voices, reading out loud their sentences, and another student has to write down within that chat what the others said in their recordings. So you can see that there are so many different ways of exploiting the different resources that are already available to all of us in a, I would say, rather easy way. So I could continue showing you more ideas of how we could stimulate our students in terms of how to use Going-To for plans and Will for predictions. But it's already 7:27, and we're going to close this meeting at about 8:20. I don't want to make this meeting, I don't want you to leave this meeting without doing something yourselves. I would like you to practice doing this. So I am now going to ask everyone, please, to follow the instructions that I have already left here on our website. As I was saying earlier today, this is our, you can see the website, right?
Yes.
Yes, great.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is the website. Right now we only have one section, but we will little by little add the other sections. And here is the introduction. And then if we go further down below, we have this second section within this section that says incorporation of GIFs to a PowerPoint file, which is what I would like you all to practice today. I guess some of you already know how to do it, but there are many other teachers, or so I think. That's what I noticed, that there are quite a number of teachers who don't know how to incorporate GIFs into a PowerPoint file. And I hope that I was able to show the power of GIFs throughout the presentation that I was showing you during the beginning of today's meeting. So the question now is, how can we all create, design presentations that include these animations, these GIFs that enhance the learning experience? So here are two websites. One is Giphy.com, the other one is Gipher. There are, of course, many other websites. These are the ones that I have personally found most useful, but you could find many others. I think these are the ones that are most popular. So what are we going to do for the rest of today's meeting? Individually, everybody's going to please, unless you're using a cell phone, in which case it's going to be rather hard, if not impossible, to create a PowerPoint. But I hope that most of us are working with a PC, a personal computer, or a laptop, so that you can create a new PowerPoint file. And you are going to please open either Giphy or Gipher or both. You just gotta click on either one of these, and you will be directed to this website, Giphy.com. Yeah, .com, or Gipher, I think is .com. Yeah, .com also.
Sergio, sorry about the interruption. Yeah. Do you know which one is less heavy? Is lighter?
From between Gipher and Giphy?
Yes.
In my experience, both are equally heavy. Fast to load.
Fast. Okay.
Yeah.
So are they applications that I have to download, or it's just a page that I have to open?
Yeah, it's a website that you can open.
A website.
Just using Google Chrome or
Okay.
Firefox. It's also possible to download a cell phone application so that you can download GIFs into your cell phone, and you can later upload your GIFs to OneDrive or Google Drive or your favorite cloud storage system. But I could recommend that that you work in a personal computer, or a regular PC, or a laptop, so that you don't have to battle with moving files from one device to another. Let me check the chat very quickly. I think I have a couple of comments in the chat. Just let me see if it's something that I need to answer. Okay, yeah, somebody was adverting me about the bar. The GIFs are funny. Thank you. The control bar, yeah, I'm so sorry about the control bar. The Zoom bar, yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. It's just that I changed my monitor 3 or 4 days ago, and yeah, I'm still adapting to how the settings have been changing. So yeah, something that I would like to say about the differences between Giphy and Gipher is that in my experience, Giphy has a more robust pool of GIFs. You can find more GIFs in Giphy than you can find in Gipher. But it is often the case that I don't find what I'm looking for here. And quite often I go to Gipher and I do find what I'm looking for here. So yeah, that's just a matter of playing with both of them and finding out which of them works best for every one of us. But I think both are equally, on the whole, equally valuable. So yeah. So please, if you could start already creating a new PowerPoint, if it's possible for you. If you're working on a cell phone, well, that's going to be rather hard. But if you're working on a personal computer, PC, or laptop, please create a new PowerPoint file. And you're going to incorporate GIFs to your presentation from either one of these websites. Once you finish your first exercise, your first trial or attempt, I'm going to create breakout rooms in which you're going to work in pairs. And when you finish giving each other's feedback, you will please present your one or both of your presentations to the whole group. So this is the part in which things become more practical and we stop just.
But I have a question.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. I already opened the page, the Giphy page.
Yes.
And I have a new PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
But now what do I do?
Yeah. That's what I want to get. Yeah. Thank you for.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's do this step by step. So there are different ways of creating a new PowerPoint. Each person has a different habit. One thing you can do is to press Windows and then you type PowerPoint, and then you are presented with the option to create a new PowerPoint. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it, let me show you in case you are not so sure how to start, is to, for instance, I'm going to open, you are, I hope, able to see my screen. And if I go to the folder in which I am storing everything that has to do with our workshop, if I go to week number 1, and then I click with the right button of my mouse, I am given several options. And then if I go to Nuevo or New or whatever shows on your own device, and here I am given several options, and I could just select PowerPoint presentation. So I click, I create it, and I give it a name, and I could type just test, because this is just a test or demonstration. And then I click on enter, I wait for this to respond. There it is. And then I can open my presentation. So I think that's something that all of us know how to do, but I'm just trying to make sure that everything is fully clear. So teacher Patty is asking me, I have section 1 warm up. Where is section 2? Section 2. Could you please help me understand that, teacher Patty? I'm not sure, so sure what the question is.
In the in the presentation in the website.
Yep.
Number 1, going to will and present progressive. Dear everyone. Then I have number 1 warm up. Then the video talking about the future. And that's it. But I don't have section 2.
Oh, so you mean that you here, this part.
That one. I don't have that one.
Yeah, maybe you need to refresh, to reload.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, I'm not so sure, because when I sent you the link earlier today, I hadn't finished this.
Now I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's assume that everybody has already created a PowerPoint. So here there are once again different options to start working. You can follow the instructions that are given. As you can see, click to add the first slide, or you can decide here above what type of slide you would like to have, a blank one or one with a title, etc. I'm going to go for the one that says blank. And right now I am not going to worry so much about the background. That's something we can discuss later. You probably did notice that I have these backgrounds, such as this blue background that I love. I love blue. I love blue backgrounds, such as the one that I'm showing you right now.
Me too. Me too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I always prefer blue.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a matter of personal taste, but yeah, I love blue as a background. It relaxes so much, right? This is a little bit stronger, but it's still kind of blue. So that's something that you can work out later. Right now, what I want to focus our efforts on is how do we incorporate all of these GIFs into a presentation. So I'm going to ignore the fact that right now I don't have a nicer background on this slide, but then I go to, let's go to giphy.com. And then this is where the creative process begins. This is where we need to become very, very creative. So now I already have all the theoretical foundations about cognitive grammar and cognitive linguistics, going to for plans that are imminent, over which I have control, will for predictions that are prototypically in the long term, and over which I typically don't have any control. And then I have to think about an example. What example can I want to include in my presentation? So the examples that I gave you are the following. Let me go back to the part where they are all together. So these are all the examples that I showed you earlier today. And so I already talked about temperatures, doctors, earthquakes, colonization of Mars, robots, telepathy. Those are predictions, and reading a book, traveling, learning to dance, starting a diet, exercising, or saving money as examples of plans. Could anybody please propose another example, either for will or for going to, different from these ones?
Cancel something.
Which one, sorry?
Cancel a meeting or something like that.
Cancel a meeting. Okay, so you are going to, I guess that's a plan, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yes. So let's say that we want to include an example about canceling, about my intentions, my plan to cancel a meeting. So I'm going to cancel a meeting. So then this is where it becomes, at the beginning, kind of challenging. Little by little, one becomes more knowledgeable, more competent, more able to find the perfect, well, I don't know if I should say perfect, but let's say for me it would be the perfect gift. So what kind of gift do you think could show somebody canceling a meeting? Probably, I believe, crossing out a notebook. I'm not sure. Let's see if I am lucky.
Sorry, what is the Lupita's example?
Yeah, the example that we want to work right now is I'm going to cancel a meeting. Let's say that you had already agreed to meet with your family in Zoom today, but then you remember that you had this workshop and you say, oh my God, I'm going to cancel my meeting. So now we want to find
I found a good one.
Yes.
If you write plans.
Yeah.
Write plans there in the bar.
Yep. Wait, we just give me a second because I left the, yeah, in Giphy, right?
Yes.
So plans.
Using the phone.
Plans, yep.
Yes, that's it.
Oh, just plans. Okay, let's
just plans, and then go down.
Yeah.
And the second one on the left.
The second one on the left. Oh, here.
No. At the beginning, almost.
Almost at the beginning.
That one, the woman in the desk.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, so I click on that. And then all I gotta do is use the right click button of my mouse, and I am given several options, and I'm going to choose, of course, guardar imagen como, or save image if your system is in English. I click there, and now I have to decide where I want to store where I want to save my file. So I'm going to go to week 1. I'm going to create another folder so that I don't make a mess. And I'm going to type gifts. This is up to you. You can give it whatever name you prefer to give it. I'm going to name it gifts. I open the folder. I don't really mind to keep the name that is given here. If you want to become more systematic, you can give them names like canceling or what you prefer, but I'm just going to keep the name Giphy. I save it. It's already somewhere in my computer. If you are using Google Chrome, you should see the file in the lower left corner. And then you can see that there is a little triangle here below. I click on that. I am given several options. And so I click on Mostrar en Carpeta, and that should lead me in a moment there to my file. Now that I have my file here, I just click on it and I press Control-C or Control Copy. I could also click with my right button click of the mouse and choose copy. That's up to how you adapt best to your own personal way of working with your computer. And then I go to my PowerPoint. And all I have to do is paste.